to guide you through the different sections of the Personal Independence Payment Form, or PIP form. A lot of people find the PIP form to be complex. In this video, we will be discussing how to fill it out. We will first explain a bit about what PIP is and how to make a claim for it. We'll then go through the form section by section to help you fill it out correctly. If you haven't yet started the process to claim PIP, you will need to ring the Department for Work and Pensions to start your claim. You will need to provide details such as your national insurance number and what other benefits you may be claiming. They will then send you the form and you will have 1 month to fill it out and return it, so make sure you leave enough time for it to get there in the post. We would recommend sending it at least 1 week before the deadline to make sure it is received in time. If you need the form in an alternative format, such as large print, you can ask for this when you ring them.
PIP is for people over the age of 16 and who have not yet reached state pension age. It is designed to help with some of the extra costs if you have a long-term health condition or disability. There are 2 elements to PIP, the daily living component and the mobility component. Each of these components has a standard rate and an enhanced rate. Check this website to access the current rates.
PIP is usually paid every 4 weeks into your bank account.
The PIP form has 2 types of questions. Firstly, there are tick box yes and no questions, which broadly indicate how your condition affects you. For these questions, use the information booklet and information in this video to provide the most accurate answer. Then, there are extra information boxes where you can provide more details. Be as specific as possible. If you need more space, use the additional information section in page 30 of the answer booklet. From this section on, do feel free to skip to the different sections that you need specific help with. So now, getting straight into the form. On page 2, you will find a box where you can list any documents that you are sending us evidence to support your claim. As you're filling out the form, fill this box in as you go in order to make sure everything is included. Providing evidence in a timely manner with the form will prevent any delays in getting a decision back on your claim and help support any information you provide. It is best to send a photocopy of any evidence and not the original documents, just in case something gets lost in the post. Examples of good evidence include letters from a GP or healthcare specialist that confirm your diagnosis, or hospital discharge notices. However, do include anything that is relevant and may support your claim. The evidence you provide should be recent, ideally from the last 12 months. If you have not seen your healthcare professional in the last 3 months, it may help to get an appointment with them. This way you can discuss your difficulties in case the DWP contact them. It may help you to keep an ongoing diary of how your conditions are affecting you. You could include appointment details, medication or treatments you take, and the difficulties you are having. You can use it to help you fill out the form, to remind you what help you need, and you could take it to your physical assessment to show the assessor how your condition affects you.
On page 3, it is asking me to list my healthcare professionals.
You should list any healthcare professionals you see in relation to your conditions. Normally, this will be your GP or specialist, but you could include anyone you see about your condition, such as a physio or a counsellor. You need to include their contact details. The address would be where you usually see them, such as the hospital. If you are not sure about all their correct contact details, include as much information as you can. You also need to say when you last saw them. If you are not sure, it's alright to just give a year. If you want to list more than 2 people, list these in the additional information section on page 30.
Section 2 is asking me about my health conditions and disabilities.
It is important to list all of your health conditions and how long you have had them. They may be mental or physical health conditions. If you are unsure of the exact start date of the condition, just be as accurate as you can.
One of my conditions has not yet been formally diagnosed. I'm not sure what to write.
If you're still awaiting a diagnosis, list the condition but explain that it's currently being investigated. List the symptoms of your conditions and any tests that are being arranged.
In section 2B, I now need to list any treatment that I am currently having or will be taking.
You should list any treatments you are currently having and any side effects that you have as a result of these. You should list all the treatments you take, whether you have been prescribed them or not. You need to give the person reading your form the full picture of what treatment you receive because of your conditions. Once you have listed your medications, You should go back and cross-check them against your list of conditions on page 4 to make sure you haven't missed any information.
Now that I have described my health conditions and any treatment, I need to explain how my health condition affects me day to day. I'm not sure what to write, as my health conditions can affect me in different ways depending on the day. Sometimes I am able to manage day-to-day tasks more easily than others.
This is a really important stage of the application, as the amount of PIP you receive does not depend on what condition you have, but how it affects you. If the way your condition affects you may vary, include details of how your condition affects you on an average day, but also mention examples of when things go wrong, so your application accurately reflects your needs.
Question 3 is asking me about my ability to prepare food.
This section is about your ability to prepare and cook a simple one-course meal using fresh ingredients. This includes preparing vegetables or using cooking appliances like an oven or hob.
I struggle to move the pans when I cook because they are heavy, and I get tired when I make food, so I often take rests, but I'm not sure how to include that.
Question 3A and 3B are tick box questions that ask you if you need to use an aid or appliance to prepare meals, and if you need help from another person to prepare a simple meal. Then in question 3C, expand on these answers, giving more information about what help you need. If it takes you longer to cook because you need to take regular breaks, include this. Consider what help you would require if any assistance was available, not just what help you currently receive. For example, if you struggle to lift heavy pans and so would benefit from using lightweight pans, that would be an aid or appliance you need, even if you don't currently have access to these. Also remember that these aids do not need to be any more specialist than normal kitchen utensils or appliances that are readily available. If you haven't done so, it may be helpful to ask your GP for a referral to occupational therapy assessment to find out more about what aids and appliances which could be useful to you. It also asks about what help you need from other people. Remember, this isn't just help with doing physical activities, but also if you require prompting or encouraging to make a meal. For example, because of a mental health condition.
There is a box on the next page to provide extra information.
In this box, you should describe what assistance you need, and you should talk about how this might change depending on the day. Look at the examples given on the form for guidance. There is a list of examples with common problems people may struggle with whilst preparing food. However, you can look beyond these prompts and write down any challenges you have when preparing food.
Question 4 asks about difficulties I have specifically with eating and drinking.
There are more tick box questions like the previous section. Again, you should answer the questions based on help you currently have as well as help you need but do not get. A key difference with this section though is that it primarily concerns specialist aid and appliances used to eat and drink, such as the use of adapted cutlery or a feeding tube. This would also be a good section to discuss problems with eating if you are underweight.
I don't think this section particularly applies to me, but often my friends tell me when to eat as I forget, or I have to be reminded to take certain medications that I must take with or after food.
If you need or get help from other people, such as having to be prompted or reminded of appropriate times to eat and drink, discuss this in question 4D, where you can write any extra information. Here you can describe any aids and appliances you need to eat or drink and what help other people may provide you with. Remember to provide as much information as possible.
Question 5 is asking me about any difficulties I have managing treatments.
This includes any help or assistance you may need to monitor your health conditions, such as recording blood sugar levels and taking medication. It isn't just about what help you currently have. It's important to talk about what help you would benefit from if you had access to it. It's important to include information about if it takes you a long time to do something safely, or if you experience side effects from doing this activity.
I am normally able to manage my treatments, but I do use a dosette box. Is that relevant?
Include as much information as possible. This includes using a dosette box to help remind you when to take your medication. Write down if you need assistance to manage your treatments. For example, if you need someone to prepare your medications or help you record your blood sugar levels and how often that is.
In question 6, I should discuss my ability to wash using a standard bath or shower.
You should write down any difficulties you may have and what assistance you might need. You may explain how you manage at the moment and how your condition affects you whilst doing this. Include any aids you currently use, such as the shower seat, but also any help you might need as well. Even if you feel like you can manage washing and bathing, it's important to include things you may struggle to do too.
Because I use a wheelchair, I need help from someone else to use a bath, but can use a shower with a shower chair. Should I talk about not being able to use the bath?
If you need help to get into a bath, but are still able to shower independently, do discuss these limitations with bathing on your form. Moreover, if you are able to bathe or shower but are not motivated to do so or need regular prompting, include this on the form as well.
Question 7 is asking about how I manage my toilet needs. I'm not sure how much information I want to provide in this section.
Although you may not want to talk about what help you need to manage your toilet needs, it is really important to provide as much information as possible so the assessor is able to make a fully informed decision. All the information is confidential and only needed to make a decision on the outcome of your claim. You should include information both on your ability to get on and off the toilet and any assistance you need, such as the use of a grab rail or a raised toilet seat. Also include any issues you have with incontinence and a need to use pads or a catheter. You should mention if you need help from someone else to get on the toilet or to manage your incontinence needs.
Question 8 asks about my ability to get dressed and undressed.
In this section, you should also mention if you struggle to choose an outfit that is appropriate for the occasion and if you need someone to help you to be able to choose what to wear. As an example, if you struggle to remember to wear a coat when it is cold and need reminded to do so, you should talk about that.
I can't wear some kinds of clothes as I struggle to fasten them. I'm not sure whether I should mention this.
It's important to talk about any difficulties you have with any kinds of clothes. If as a result of your condition or disability you are unable to dress into certain clothes without assistance, then explain this on the form. Common problems can be things like shoelaces, buttons and zips, getting clothing over your head and bending over to put on socks and ties.
Question 9 is asking me about my ability to communicate. I'm not sure what kind of information to put here.
This section is all about your ability to both talk to someone in your native language and to listen and understand someone who is talking to you.
My condition does not affect my communication, but I have friends who use hearing aids. Should they talk about that here?
If you use a hearing aid or a similar device, this is the section to mention that. You should mention if you need help from another person to communicate, such as a sign language interpreter, whether or not you currently receive that help. If, for example, you get very anxious when having a conversation, it is really important to be honest about that and mention it on the form.
Question 10 asks me about my reading ability. I wear contact lenses. I wonder if I should mention that.
People can sense your ability to read and understand signs, symbols and words in your native language, but doesn't include the use of glasses or contact lenses, so you don't need to mention that. Note that this does not include your ability to read and understand Braille, so if you can only read using Braille, it's important you point this out. This section is not just about reading everyday books or bank statements, but your ability to understand information both indoors and outdoors. This would be, for example, include your ability to locate and read a street sign. If you have problems reading, then you may also struggle to use this information booklet and other guidance provided with the form. If so, visit your local advice centre who will be able to provide assistance in reading and filling out the form.
Question 11 asks about my ability to mix with other people. I wonder what this means.
This section concerns your ability to get on with other people and behave appropriately in any given social setting. Severe anxiety and autism are common examples of conditions which may inhibit this ability. If after mixing with people you get very anxious, you should talk about this and also whether you would benefit from having someone with you in social situations to support you.
Question 12 asks about my ability to make decisions about my money. I wonder what I could include here.
In this section, you should include information about how you manage to make decisions about money and budgeting. This should include whether you need help from someone else to be able to make either simple or more complex budgeting decisions. You need to provide as much information as possible about what help you need and in what situations. For example, if someone helps you manage your bank account, then talk about that. Or if when you're out shopping, you struggle to work out what change someone should give you, then you should also mention this.
It looks like questions 13 and 14 relate to the mobility element of PIP. Question 13 talks about going out, but isn't about my ability to physically move around, so wonder what information to include.
This section is about your ability to plan a journey and then follow it from one place to another. This may be inhibited by conditions such as severe anxiety, which may affect your confidence to leave the house. Again, even if you do not currently have someone to assist you when you go out, but feel like you need someone to encourage you to go out, reassure you or keep you safe, include this in the form. The form references your ability to visit places you know well, as well as help you need to visit somewhere you do not know so well. So write down how you manage going out in both familiar and unfamiliar places as well as how this makes you feel either during or after the activity.
Question 14 asks about my ability to physically move around. I can't walk, but I can travel long distances using my wheelchair. I'm not sure how far to say I can move.
When I ask you how far you can walk, you should think about how far you can walk on your worst day. And if you can't walk but use a wheelchair, then you should say that you can't walk 20 metres in the tick box question. If you use a walking aid such as crutches, then you need to tick the box that applies to how far you can walk when using the crutches. If the amount you can walk varies a lot, then tick the It Varies box and provide more details about this in the extra information area. To help you understand how far 20 metres is, an average bus would be 10 metres long. It's important to provide information on how walking long distances may affect you and whether you can do so safely. The key thing here is just providing as much information as possible and making sure you provide a full picture of how you get around.
We have now finished the form. It's really important to show a full picture of your conditions and all the way it affects you. So once you are finished, look back at it and see if there's anything you've missed or something else you want to mention. It is better to provide too much information than too little. If we haven't mentioned an aid or an assistance you need in this video, don't worry, we have just provided some examples rather than a complete list.
It's a good idea to keep a photocopy of your form before you send it off so that you can remember what you said. Go back to page 2 and check that you have listed all the documents you are submitting as evidence to support your claim.
The form is now ready to send. Put it in the envelope provided along with any supporting evidence. You do not need a stamp, although if you want to know that the Department for Work and Pensions has received your form, you could choose to send it by recorded delivery. Go to your local post office to do this.
Once you have sent your form, most people have to go through an assessment that is carried out by a health professional. You can find more information about the assessment on the Citizens Advice website.
After your assessment, you will receive a letter telling you the outcome of your claim. If your claim is unsuccessful or you feel like you have been awarded the wrong level, there is an option of a mandatory reconsideration, and further to that there is an appeal process. For more information and advice on these, we suggest you go to your local advice centre or Citizens Advice.
That concludes this video. We hope you have found it useful. If you have any further queries, then we recommend getting in touch with your local advice service.